Do you get tired of cleaning out and refilling your chicken's water containers? Yeah, so do I. Until I built this system. Hey y'all, I'm Renee and welcome to Tater Town. Let me say, traditional watering systems can be a real pain. If you have chickens, you've probably experienced it yourself. Constantly refilling your water containers or cleaning out the disgusting debris that accumulates at the bottom if you have, say, a water fount. Or if you have a bucket, having to clean the bacteria and algae that form pretty much every other day, if not every day. It's a never-ending cycle, and it gets old fast. Not to mention the health risks associated with dirty watering system. And let's be real, traditional watering systems just aren't designed with ease of use in mind. They're clunky, heavy, and hard to clean. It's no wonder so many of us hate dealing with them. So today I'm going to show you my system. Now, I will show you everything I currently use, and you can decide to build the same system or pick and choose what works best for you. I'll give you the quick overview and then go over each part in detail. Also, I have a video on how to keep your chicken's water cleaner for longer. I may duplicate some of that info, but there will be some additional details in that video, so be sure to check it out. If you find this video helpful or any of the information in any of my videos helpful, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It really does help me to keep presenting videos that will hopefully help you do those things you never thought you could. All right, so my system consists of a 15-gallon container for the water, a fountain pump, a PVC water bar, and a return hose for the water to go back to the tank. It is a closed loop system. So first things first, you need to choose your container. I chose to use a used whiskey barrel because I'm trying to limit the amount of plastic I use. On the plus side, it also looks cool. But it's a personal choice. You can easily, come on guys, you can easily use any container. Just make sure that it's for use with drinking water so you don't have any unwanted chemicals getting into your chicken's water. And this is especially important if the plastic will be sitting in the sun or exposed to high temperatures. You also want something that's UV resistant and dark colored because if the UV rays can get inside, you're gonna have a much bigger problem with algae forming. You could also go with a light colored container and simply put a UV blocking cover over top of it. If you do go with something used, whether it's a whiskey barrel or a plastic container, just make sure it wasn't used to hold any kind of toxic chemicals prior to use. Even if the container is labeled for drinking water, you never really know what the person before you did with it. So make sure it comes with a certification stating no chemicals were stored in it. Also, I went with a 15-gallon container because it's much easier for me to move around when I need to do a deep clean on it. Initially, I bought a 50-gallon barrel, but dear Lord, that was a pain for me to clean. You could also go smaller, but you'll have to make sure you're filling it up more frequently. Now, I just fill it up with my garden hose, but you could easily direct water from your gutters and make it a rain barrel. I'm not sure if I'll do that at any point. Maybe I will, but for right now we don't have gutters on the shed, so it's not an option. Next up are my hoses and connections. Pretty much every connection I have is stainless steel. You can use PVC or brass. Just make sure whatever you choose to use that it's specifically made for drinking water, especially those brass connections. They're inexpensive compared to stainless, but most of them contain lead, and you really don't want that to be a part of your system. You'll notice I have a lot of valves and quick connects because I like to make things easy on myself, and I hate having to tighten and loosen fittings, especially in a water system where there's a greater risk of leaking if you don't have a tight enough seal, or in the case of PVC threaded connections, some of those things just cross thread if you look at them the wrong way. You're not wrong, whichever you choose. Again, just be sure it's meant for drinking water or potable water. Also, if you're anything like me, I'm super specific about what I like to use as far as pumps and hoses, which meant I had to have all kinds of reducing connectors to make things fit. because as some of you already know, if you're mixing items that use garden hose thread or GHT and national pipe thread, NPT, that can be... Hang on just a minute. Let's try that again. So if you already know pipe threads or threading the threads of connectors, you know there's garden hose thread and there's national pipe thread. There's other types of threading systems, but they don't easily mix and match. I would say probably 99% of the time, 1% of the time, you might get lucky that something that has an NPT versus a GHT thread, they'll actually somehow miraculously work together, but most of the time they don't. So if you're having to buy multiple different types of connectors, it can start to become costly and really just a pain to put everything together. So if you're not like me in that respect, then this is going to be a lot less of a headache for you. All right, coming out of the barrel, I have a stainless steel shutoff valve, a ball valve. Actually, I have a 3/4 inch outer diameter male coupling that I screwed into the wood. I drilled a slightly smaller hole than the diameter of the fitting and then screwed it directly into the wood. It'll be a super tight fit, so it will require a good amount of cranking to get it in. The beautiful thing about wood is when you fill it with water, it swells. So as long as there's not a huge gap, it won't leak. If you plan to use a plastic or stainless container, you'll need a bulkhead fitting to give you a good seal so there's no water leakage at the connection point. I have an example here on this 5-gallon bucket. This is my temporary container for when I need to do a deep clean on the wood barrel. Now, for the longest time, I had a small inline mesh filter coming off the ball valve. I use this to catch any random debris and prevent clogging up at the pump. I haven't been using it over the winter, but I'll probably add it back in when I do my next cleaning, as I do think it is helpful. Just make sure to put some sort of light blocking cover on it so it doesn't become a growth tank for algae. Next, I have a drinking water safe hose that goes to a water fountain pump. I'm using a fountain pump because they are meant to be run 24/7. Some pumps are not and will burn out quickly if they're always on. These are also fairly inexpensive, and sizing the pump all depends on your setup. If you're not moving water very far or pumping the water up very high, you can go with a less powerful pump. And it's not too difficult to size that pump because most of them have a graph, a chart where you can see how high am I pumping the water and how many gallons per minute do I need. You don't need a lot in this system at all. You just need to get it from point A to point B. So just follow that graph and it'll show you, you'll be able to determine what size is going to be best for how you have your system set up. Now, from the pump to the water bar, I use flexible stainless steel faucet supply lines. You can use regular drinking water hose. I'm only using this because I'm going through my hardware cloth and I didn't want it to get ripped up when I moved it in and out. And I also wanted something that wouldn't get destroyed if the chickens decided to peck at it. Again, what you decide to use will all depend on your individual setup. I then have the water bar. Now, for me, ideally, I'd love to use copper, but copper's expensive. I also acidify my chicken's water, so I know that will degrade the copper more quickly than PVC. So for now anyway, I'm using 1/2 inch PVC pipe. Again, making sure I purchase PVC meant to be used in drinking water applications. I know that may seem obvious to some of you, but there's a lot of really cool colored PVC pipe out there that's meant more for crafting than for use in pressure water applications. So I want to make sure I at least mention it. I then purchased T-connections specifically made for attaching horizontal or vertical water nipples. This is so much easier than drilling holes directly in the pipe, but you can certainly do that if you prefer. The other thing I love about these is they make a pretty tight fit. So this is the pipe and this is the connector right here. And because the pressure in this line is very little, I realized I didn't have to glue them on. It allows you to break down the water bar completely and clean it out more thoroughly than if I had one big water bar all glued together. And like I said, initially I did glue all the connectors on, and put a connector in the center of the entire bar so I could at least have two smaller pieces to clean, but not using the glue has been so much easier. I then added another shutoff at the end, just in case I needed to remove the hose for some reason and I didn't want all the water to drain out. And then another drinking water safe hose goes from the end of the water bar back into the barrel. At this point, some of you are probably asking, why do you even have the water being pumped back into the barrel? Well, there's two reasons for this. First, moving water helps keep it oxygenated and it reduces the buildup of bacteria and other organisms that you usually find in stagnant water. And that includes mosquito larvae. Now, that doesn't mean it eliminates them completely. It just makes the environment less friendly to them. Second, it helps regulate temperature. So in the summertime, it's going to help keep the water a little bit cooler. I'm not talking cold, but it will keep it cooler. And in the winter, especially when you're using a trough heater in your water container, that warm water will continuously circulate through the system and keep it from freezing. Again, the nipples may freeze up on the outside, but it's easy to break any ice that forms with your finger or just a little bit of heat from a hairdryer or a heat gun. Don't use too much heat. Those heat guns get pretty hot. Oh, and horizontal nipples tend not to freeze as easily as the vertical ones. Now, I have some extra bells and whistles on my system, and you don't need them, but it can really help if you choose to do so. First, I have a UVC light attached to the top of the barrel, on the inside of the top of the barrel. I don't know if I'd really consider this a bell or whistle because it is really an integral part of keeping the water clean for a longer period of time. The light kills bacteria, parasites, and algae, and I leave it on 24/7. I'd prefer to have it in the water, but since these aren't made for drinking water, I keep it out of it. They do make tank systems, but they're fairly large and expensive, so I really need to spend a little more time researching ones for drinking water, in smaller systems, that is. There's also under sink UV sterilization systems, but those aren't necessarily ideal either, and here's the reason I chose not to use something like that. Those systems pass the water through a chamber that has the UV light. So it only cleans the water as it's flowing through that chamber. And what I really wanted was something that kept the water that's sitting in the tank clean at all times. So again, there's nothing wrong if you choose to use an under-sink UV sterilization unit. This is just what I prefer because I want to keep all the water as bacteria and parasite and algae free as I can. Also, keep in mind that UV light is dangerous to you and your animal's eyes. Other parts too, but mostly we're talking about the eyes. You need to make sure the light is always enclosed in whatever you're treating and turn it off when you lift the lid. The other thing I have is an ultrasonic water level monitor. Now this is completely unnecessary. Why? Because I'm out with the chickens every day and I can easily tell the water level without even looking in the barrel. Just by listening to the sound of the pump and how the water sounds as it drips into the barrel from the return hose, I can tell if it's getting low or empty. Now, I never intentionally let it go empty, but on those rare occasions when there's a leak, or if one of those nipples gets stuck open, yes, it does happen, it can drain the system within an hour. And it's happened before where I had just filled up the tank and then there's a leak and I don't notice it for several hours. So I love having this sensor because I can quickly look and check to see the level in the tank. And if it gets low, I get a notification. This is very new for me and I just installed it a few weeks ago, so I haven't had it long enough to really give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, but in the short time I've had it, it has been very helpful. And of course now the chickens are making all kinds of noise. Come on guys! We're about to get a really bad storm here, and so I was hoping I could get this finished before it starts. Oh, and one of the most important things for me is that I have a duplicate setup excluding the barrel. So I have a second pump, water bar, and a second set of hoses. That way, when it's time to clean the barrel, or if there's a problem in the system, I can quickly swap out parts or the entire system which gives me plenty of time to clean or fix a problem. You certainly don't have to do that, but for me, it makes things a whole heck of a lot easier, especially if I've got a lot going on, which is pretty much all of the time. Oh, and don't forget to check out the companion videos at the end on how to keep your water cleaner for longer and how to acidify your chicken's water. Those videos will help you to understand why I use a UV light, and also why I use citric acid, and also how to appropriately use that acid. That way you could easily go 2 months, give or take, without having to clean out your water system. Just fill it up. And please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions. In fact, I am going to make a community post where you can put suggestions of video topics if there's something that I can help you with, obviously within reason. I'm not going to do anything dangerous. Or will I? Anyway, I have gotten a lot of great feedback from you and suggestions that have truly been helpful. So I love hearing from you. Please keep telling me your thoughts because I really do enjoy making content that can help you. Anyway, thank you all for taking the time to hang with me here on Tater Town, and I'll see you again soon. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you can see more videos that will help you do those things you never thought you could.